Hello. I can't believe it. The last time we did a presentation, the guy did magic tricks before me, and this time it's Laser Man, so what chance do I have? Okay, my name's Ian Hainey. First, thank you for the Abu Dhabi Chamber for inviting me. I'm here to speak today about the integrated role of PR. My name's Ian Hainey, and I'm Managing Director of IHC. We're an integrated communications agency based in Dubai. Okay, maybe a strange first slide, but I was recently asked to do this presentation. I was on holiday in Thailand in Koh Phi Phi, and I was lying exactly there, and I'm thinking what to tell you guys that's relevant for your own businesses. I had a look over at these people sunbathing, and there was 9 people at the pool. One of the most beautiful islands on earth. It's where the beach was filmed, the Alex Garland book from 20 years ago. It was a desert island then. 9 people here. 6 of them were on their mobile phone. Look at this infinity pool. Look at they flew from Dubai to Bangkok. They flew from Bangkok to Krabi. They got a taxi. Then they got a speedboat, and then they landed up here, and they're all looking in their phones. So everybody was doing this. And it's kind of the point of what I thought I would get across to you today is the importance of integrated PR today is not only do we have to get you publicity, we have to get you good coverage for your brand, but we also have to force it into the handsets. You're all sitting with your handsets in front of you just now. So about us quickly, we're an integrated agency. We've been here over a decade in the UAE. We handle both local companies, English and Arabic companies. We also handle blue chip companies, their regional operations across the Middle East and Africa. We handle PR, digital, and experiential. I'm not going to bore you with all the different elements, but you can see up here that a modern integrated communications agency, there's a lot of different facets that we have to deliver for clients. It's no longer enough just to get you in the newspapers. Some of our clients. So why PR? Why is it still relevant today? Okay, so everybody in the PR industry will tell you, because facts back it up, that PR is 3 times more effective than advertising. You can think about it yourself. If you want to deliver messages, for instance, if you're having a look through a magazine, do you read the adverts from start to finish? Do you flick past the adverts and read the articles? It's a fraction of the cost of advertising. You know, not everybody here owns a huge multinational. Some people have smaller businesses. You have to be clever with your budget. It delivers editorialized messages. So what's the use of you telling people how great your company is? How powerful is that when you can have maybe an editor, or you can have a third party explain to people why your brand or company is interesting? It's much more powerful. It conveys more detail. So an advert can only convey so much in a short period of time that you look at it. PR, you can educate people. You can educate your target audience. You can go into more detail about your products or services. It's content-based, it's creative, it's interesting. If it's not interesting, then it doesn't work. Editors aren't interested. TV networks won't pick it up. The radio won't talk about it. It creates true interest and demand. How many times have you been on Facebook and you've seen an interesting video, maybe one that Mindshare's put together for you, and I don't know, it's an amazing product. You've clicked on it and bought it. I've done it twice recently, and it's not really the kind of thing that I do. And the thing about PR content, when you create coverage in terms of PR, it can be used elsewhere. It can be used by yourself elsewhere. It can be recycled. One of our clients is Zurich Insurance. We regularly put out stats. We do surveys about rates of cancer. Are people covered? Are people saving for their future? We create these surveys, they get fantastic coverage, and then the stats are used throughout the entire year from other PR companies and other reports. I noticed that the great presentation earlier on with the great stats, they had at the bottom, they had the source of all these stats. And the companies that are creating these stats are having their information recycled all over the world, all over the region, and all over this country. Also, do not underestimate, when people write about you now, it's almost always online. And that makes your brand or yourself searchable for years. Sometimes, we've got pieces that go back maybe 10 years online. So when people are investigating you, your brand, your services, they're going back and they're looking over articles that have been maybe appeared years ago. The integrated role. So this is what I'm here to talk about today. I'm trying to keep it relevant using examples because I know that many of you are business owners, so it's whether you can see some relevance in it for yourself. So 15 years ago is when I started off in the PR business. We had generally, there's a lot involved, but generally it was get your clients into newspapers, get them into magazines, get them on the radio, get them onto TV. Online coverage wasn't really highly valued. If you give a coverage report at the end of the month to your client and you had some online clippings, they would say, what's this? Where's my interview? Where's my piece in the magazine? So today, okay, so a couple of weeks ago, for one of our clients, we had to price how much it was to get an online ad in Construction Week. Does everybody know Construction Week? It's one of the top magazines here. It was $9,000 for a one-page ad in Construction Week. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds expensive for an online ad. So I ran to our files and checked. It was indeed $8,000 to get a full-page equivalent ad in the print. So what does that tell you? That the value of online, in many instances now, is actually higher than the print or the traditional media equivalent, which might be a surprise to some. The other thing, we call it integrated PR. We call it PR Plus, because now we're not just, all the power is not with the editor anymore. We can get a nice piece of coverage for a client. We can then take that coverage, and because people are on their feeds, people are sitting updating their posts, people are searching things online, we can make sure that that coverage is then pushed onto the handsets of the people that matter, your target audience. So today we call it PR Plus. It's actually, I believe that PR is much more powerful now than it ever was. So we still get our clients, we create unique content, we're journalist-led. We still get our clients into newspapers, magazines, TV, radio, but now we ensure that that coverage is forced into the handsets of the target market. And that's been made easy for us through different tools. And the type of PR that every client does will be completely different depending on your target market. Some clients need to look at LinkedIn. Their product or service only appeals, their target audience is only maybe a specific job title. So the only way we can reach these job titles is through LinkedIn. Whereas perhaps it's a B2C, a business to consumer product, and then maybe we'll use Facebook, because then we can look at people's interests, we can look at demographics. So we create this content, we create interest in editorialized content through PR, and then we push it through LinkedIn, Facebook, and Google+, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it takes for our clients. And this is the thing, I must have worked for hundreds of clients over the last 15 years. And the thing that's unusual about PR is the contract is different for every client. Every client has different objectives. There's always a slightly different target audience, different budgets. It would be great if we could just give a package, but really, we can tailor exactly to what your target audience wants and what they're looking at. It's actually a media that maybe, the National is very highly regarded. This is more tabloid. 7 Days. If you have a look at 7 Days, I don't know if you can see that there, but it's got well over 500,000 people that like the page. The interesting thing isn't the number. The interesting thing is how highly engaged people are in this page. So for instance, one of our clients is TravelX. They're the world's leading currency exchange company. We did this story last year, bashing Dubai a little bit for being the most expensive city to enjoy New Year in the world. This story, this press release that we put together for them, a little bit of research, it was on the radio all day, it was across all the channels, it was front page of some newspapers. It basically led the news agenda for the entire day. People were talking about it for days, weeks after it. So we create the publicity for TravelX, and then it was posted on 7 Days Facebook page, which was so much more powerful than any other individual media that it landed on. Because it's so engaged, because there's so many people watching the feed, so many people are engaging with it every day because it has quirky stories about what's going on in Dubai. Within a few hours, it got 1,100 likes. It got 500 shares, over 500 shares, and 100 comments. So if you consider how powerful that is, if you get 500 shares, if you've got an average of 700 people on your Facebook page, that's 350,000 feeds that could potentially go onto, which is really powerful because it almost acts as an endorsement. To take a different example, would you go and visit a restaurant because you saw an advert for it, or would you go and visit a restaurant because somebody recommended it? And basically, when somebody's sharing something on their page, they're either endorsing it or they're saying it's interesting for you to see. I think most of you have got your phone there, and instead of listening to me for maybe a couple of minutes, would you like to Google your own company? Just take a second and do it. Just Google your own company. I think people are actually putting their phone down now. It's interesting. Google your own company. If you Google it and you can't find it, that's fine. So you can refine it. You can maybe put your company name in Abu Dhabi, company name in Alain. You can click onto Google News and see if there's anything been written about your company. The point is, if you Google your company, are you happy about what you see? Are you happy? Have you got? Are there impressive articles written about you? Is there something there that will inspire your potential audience to find out more about your company? Is there anything there that adds credibility to your company? You have to realize that before people do business with you, they will Google your company now. Has anyone found anything good about the company there? Good, one. Okay, so what is success? What is the point in PR? Is it just getting articles and, does it ever translate into business? Winning the contract. Okay, so we have a client actually, they're a project management company in the construction industry. They tried PR for the first time, and they were just about to cancel. In fact, he had cancelled. And I tried to explain to him how we had great coverage coming through, etc. A couple of days later, he called me excitedly, because what we'd done is we got him a nice piece of coverage. I think it was in The National. And then we had shared it on his LinkedIn feed as a blog. And then we'd advertised it out to his target market, which was construction decision makers in the GCC. He went into a meeting with, there's two big developers in the UAE, two of the biggest developers in the UAE, one of them, and lots of other stakeholders. This developer was his key target market. That developer had never spoken to him before and never engaged with him. The developer walked straight up to him after the meeting and said, "I read your piece on LinkedIn, it was very interesting. It was something like 5 tips for choosing your project manager." He engaged with our client physically in a meeting. So the client called me up excited, saying, "Look, this is exactly what we wanted with PR. This is us engaging directly with exactly the type of person, decision maker that we wanted." 6 months down the line, they're still our client, and they have just won their biggest ever contract with that developer, whether that's connected. I like to think so. Okay, so the other thing with PR is, okay, so maybe your products aren't going to go flying off the shelf every time you do a press release, but it provides credibility for your company. Has anyone heard of Sport Lobster? Sport Lobster is a sports social network. We worked with them for about 8 months getting their marketing communications going. They were set up with funding. They were, Cristiano Ronaldo is their brand ambassador, influencer. Now, we as part of the integrated approach, social media, digital, we did PR. We got some great PR for them because it's an interesting concept. It's like Facebook for sport. Where PR really came into its own there was, it's a startup and it needs rounds of funding. So when it came to its second round of funding, they were finding that investors were coming forward to them who had all obviously Googled the company. They saw the credibility, they understood the messages from it, they saw reviews from tech sites, they've been in the Telegraph, proper publications, and it helped them get funding. It helped them get millions and millions of dollars of funding. So PR provides credibility. And it does help in selling. How many of you guys maybe want to buy a product? And the first thing you'll do is you'll go online and you will go and see what reviews are about that product. Say it's a new smartphone, for instance. You go and check out reviews. Most of us will do it. Those reviews don't come out of nowhere. Those reviews come because that company has a PR agency, and that PR agency is speaking to the review sites and the review magazines and is begging them to please cover their client. So when it comes to PR, it's no longer just getting you in the papers, getting you in magazines. It's about all the rest of it. It's about getting inside that handset. So I thought I'd give you a quick case study because it might be relevant for your businesses. Midcom, UAE quartered a $1.5 billion company. We do retained PR for them. We do some digital and social for them as well. So we get them in the news, good old school stuff, but we also get them online news as well. We also use the news, when we're connecting with the journalists, we get features written on them. So we'll put together ideas to profile their management team, to speak about what they're doing differently. Like this is a piece of coverage in Entrepreneur magazine, which is really valuable when people are checking out their company. Do profile pieces, so this is their billionaire owner, Anand Kapoor. So we've got him in Forbes there. We put him in the national business. When people Google him now, one of the first things that pops up is people writing about what he does and why he's a special leader. And then we take that coverage and we make sure that it goes through his LinkedIn page, and then we advertise it out to the people he wants to reach, so that it's going through their handset. It's the same as what I just discussed. And then we'll pitch in interviews, which is more traditional PR. This is Arabian Business, and interviewing him about a press release that we did about them expanding their African operations. And influencer work, I don't think we've touched on it so far, but influencer work's becoming more and more important in the sort of PR plus field. Midcom's just launched 13 different handsets. So what our job is to then take, at the moment we're in the process of putting those handsets in tech reviewers' hands, giving them to influencers so they can give away as prizes. It's another way of making sure that people are finding it on their handsets. Media events. So this is Africa CEO Forum. This is Anand Kapoor. We created this opportunity and we put him on a stage with some African leaders. That's where he wants to be. He wants to be a thought leader. And then we'll be at the event and we make sure that we got some fantastic coverage for him while he was there from the media. Yeah, and we can do road shows. You can get a room full of bloggers in different countries is what we're planning to do in Africa for them. It's all part of PR+. Google Plus is interesting as well. We do this for all our clients. I don't know how many of you have got a Google Plus account? Yeah, we're getting there, and including me. I don't get much fun out of it, to be honest. But it's important. It's becoming more important because Google is turning a social network into an SEO machine. So basically, we're doing it for our clients anyway. We're making sure we're doing posts on Google Plus for them, so it's searchable. So their social media platform, we're putting messages up there. There's some of the messages that you've seen in the previous slides in the Google Plus page, which then makes them shareable for people that are logged in with the Google Plus account. Sometimes, depending on the search terms. So really, Google are looking in the future to kind of tie, I believe, to really tie up sort of business social marketing. And you get a media monitoring report. Okay, so just to finish things up and promote one of our clients. Big Boys Toys is happening next week in Abu Dhabi. Big Boys Toys is definitely the coolest exhibition around. It's probably the only exhibition that I would go to if I wasn't being paid to. They've got really cool things happening here. They've got a BMW car that drives and then actually turns into a robot, which would be good for the kids, I imagine. World's fastest superbike. They've got 3D printed musical instruments. They've got 200 exhibitors with really cool gadgets for people with more money than me. As I say, it's the coolest exhibition. They've taken us on to do a bit of PR plus for them. So they've kind of, someone by Artage, probably everybody knows Artage, they're huge. Really smart, run by really smart people. They brought us in, limited budget. Through this, we'll do some PR, English and Arabic, press conference, old school stuff. But then we're also now handling the video and photography. We're creating a strategy to make sure that it's going to appear in people's feeds, you know, running up to the event, during the event. Because if you're anything like me, then you don't really plan to do these things. You kind of wake up on a Thursday morning, you don't know what to do. You look on your Facebook feed, you see there's something awesome happening in AdNec, and you go. You know, so this is it. This is a way of using PR Plus to actually turn it into income for a client, you know, and fill up their room. We'll get hundreds of pieces of coverage for them, and we'll share it across the social media again. And it's not expensive.